Good evening. This is Van, and you're in the Spotlight with God. And today we have a candidate for mayor here today, and his first name is Patrick, but I'm gonna let you pronounce your last name.
Gutierrez.
Gutierrez. Amen. Hey, bless it, bless it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank
My
you for
pleasure.
being
My
here.
pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity.
Now, I know that we got a spot for mayor coming up. We got a spot for mayor. We want the right person in there.
Right.
And I was looking at you and examining you, and see how I was looking at a little bit of your background, and I know you used to work at a bank or something like that. You were
Right.
president of a bank or something like that.
I was one of their vice presidents in the operations division.
Okay.
And I was trained specifically to go in and turn around poor performing operations.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and then my company sent me all around the country to do that,
Okay.
including right here to Baltimore.
Okay.
Now this was supposed to be the first of many assignments up and down the East Coast.
Okay.
But I fell in love with the city.
Okay.
I fell in love with the woman,
Okay.
and we decided to stay here and raise our family and make a home here. And it was the best decision I ever made.
Amen. So how long you been married?
I've been married 10 years now.
10 years.
Yep.
How many kids you had?
Two
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 kids.
girls, 8 and 5.
Oh, yeah, they love it. They love it.
Yeah.
They have kids. I got 4 kids. But so you worked there for what made you what gave you desire to want to be mayor? What came in your mind to want to do that?
Well, the thing for me is having the background that I have in operations management, managing people, managing resources, and making sure that processes are improved to the best that they can be. Then I look at City Hall and I see exactly that void there.
Okay.
You know, we don't have strong leadership. We don't have good day-to-day management of our people or our resources. And that's everything from, the police department to the permit clerks and everywhere in between. There are opportunities to improve. And so I looked at the tools that I bring to the table from my management and leadership background, and I said, those tools I think could be useful down at City Hall in the mayor's office.
Amen.
So that was the first part of it. The second part was after Freddie Gray, I went to a police brutality forum that was held by the Department of Justice over at Coppin. And for 2+ hours, I just sat there and I listened to person after person recount these horrible, horrible stories of how they've been treated by the police. And I'm like, this does not sound like America the way I was taught to believe America is supposed to be. I mean, these are my fellow residents here. They have every right to be treated the same way that I've been treated and that, other people have been treated. So when I saw that, I saw this disconnect. And then I put 2 and 2 together. I said, well, I'm not happy with the direction the city's going in. I have some tools that I think can help us go in a different direction. I feel this need to put those tools out there to help my city because I genuinely love my city so much. And that's when I decided to actually run.
So where are you originally from? Where were you born?
Well, I was born in a small desert town in Southern California called Indio.
Oh, Indio.
And I like to tell people that Indio is like my mom because that's who raised me. And Baltimore is my wife because that's a city I choose to love. And I never dreamed of being a operations manager. I was actually going to school and working for my company part-time. But they had a spot in their management training program available, and they encouraged me to apply for it. And so I did, and they accepted me, and that's why I decided to pursue that track. But when my company wanted me to go to my next assignment in Atlanta, that's when I decided, nope, I want to stay here in Baltimore. So I left the company altogether, went back to school, finished my journalism degree, and then was a sports writer for a while. So I got to live.
Sports writer.
Right, I was with the Sun for a little while. I got to live my dream,
Okay.
and cover sports for the Sun,
Okay.
and that was a great opportunity as well. And then I was a stay-at-home dad for a while. I loved every minute of that.
Okay.
Then I also worked for a local nonprofit whose mission is to try and keep families in the city, because what we find a lot of times are families, they have kids, they love it here, but then as soon as their kids get school age, they feel like they have to leave to the county for safety or for better schools or lower property taxes. And what I want to do as mayor is, and what we try to do as an organization, is keep those families in the city because we recognize how important they are to turning the city around. Families in the city make a neighborhood safer, they make a school better, they stimulate the local economy and so forth.
It's something about the family.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you with that. Totally about the family. The family is what keeps things together.
Right.
It's old-fashioned. and it stays together. The family is good. It's good. It's a good way that God put it together, so that you have a husband and a wife. Or sometimes it's not a husband and a wife. Or sometimes it's a man by itself or a woman by itself, or however God decides to have it. But I see that. I know for a fact we need new blood, and we need new blood. Now, how would you change? Like, for instance, let me say, how would you change the police? What would you do to make that better? How would you do that? What would you?
Police are people too. Okay, so it all starts with managing people, giving them clear, concise expectations so they know what's expected of them, communicating to them clearly the things that will happen when they meet those expectations, but also what will happen if they don't meet those expectations. And then following that up by holding them accountable to make sure that they're doing the jobs that they're paid to do. And I'll give you a perfect example. So we have a situation right now where the Baltimore Police Department has a social media policy in terms of what police officers can and can't say on social media. Section 6.2 makes it clear that you can't say anything that would lead people to believe that we're not being a fair and impartial police department.
Right.
So there are officers that are going around in violation of that policy. But the department is not acting forcefully enough to penalize them. So that sends a mixed message. On one hand, you have a policy on paper that says don't do this or else, but in reality, people are not following that policy, and nothing's happening to them. So that's where, when I talk about better leadership and better day-to-day management, we need to make sure that the people in leadership positions know how to manage people and know how to hold them accountable. Because again, police are people too. They're going to want to follow, the rules like everybody else. If you make it clear what's going to happen if they don't, and if you follow through with the penalties.
And we shouldn't be afraid of the police.
No, absolutely not.
That's ludicrous. We shouldn't be afraid of the police. The police is there to help us. So we shouldn't be afraid of the police. But it goes both ways. I see their side, and I see our side. I'm in the middle of everything, and I see. But I know for a fact that something needs to change with it.
It does. And the overwhelming majority of police that are good, solid officers, they don't want the bad apples there either. But it's not their job to get rid of them. That's why you have leaders and managers to be able to get rid of poor performing employees, whether they're police or whether they're anybody else. So that's why it's so important to have that leadership and that management. That's why I keep coming back to, everybody has different ideas for how to fix things, but if you don't have that strong leadership and day-to-day management as a foundation, you're not going to be able to affect change in the way you want to, no matter how good your idea is.
We're definitely going to need somebody to change stuff and be more touchable. We was talking earlier about mayors. I think that mayors ought to be touchable. You ought to be able to go up to the mayor and say, "Mayor, blah blah," whatever. This, that, and that. But I seem like we don't have that too much now. I haven't seen that. And then he or she should be touchable, and they should be leaders. They should be out there and be leaders in front of, because that's what we want. Because everybody will follow a leader if you're leading. If you're leading right, you follow.
Right, and that's kind of the way I look at the mayor's job as well. It's a job like any other job. You come in, you put in your work, you set the example, you lead by example, and you make sure that everybody is comfortable with the direction we're going in, and that they can come to you if they have any concerns. Like there's this saying about having an open door policy. I'm going to take the door off the hinges. You know what I mean? Like, I want anybody to be able to come in anytime, pick up the phone, call me, come in the office, let me know what's going on. I'm not going to be surrounded by police officers, so where people feel intimidated or they feel like they can't approach me. That's not the type of leader I've been in my career. That's not the type of mayor I plan on being.
Right. Because take the door right off. And then you come right in. I like that. That's good. You ought to put that on a board or something.
Yeah, that would be good.
I like that.
And then another thing we do that I hope to do as the mayor is go out into the communities more. Take my leadership team and have meetings in the communities instead of in a boardroom in City Hall. That way we're always in contact with people. So when things are happening, we have our ears to the ground. We can address situations before they get out of control. And we're developing that communication with the people that we're there to serve.
Right.
So if we have the housing authority is going to have a staff meeting,
Mhm.
let's go into the one of the public housing apartment buildings and have the staff meeting right there, and then afterwards let's just go mingle with people. Hey,
Right.
how's it going?
Yeah, how's it going?
You know, that repair get fixed for you? Oh, it didn't? Well, let me make a phone call. You know,
Right.
let me get on that.
Right.
You know, that's the type of mayor I want to be, and I think that's the type of mayor people want to see.
Yeah, definitely they want to see that type. They want somebody in there that cares.
Right.
People don't always say that,
Right.
but we want somebody in there that cares. We do. We want
Right.
somebody that cares, and we can respect them. You know,
Yeah.
not saying that the man now is not doing a good job or whatever, but I just think that we need we need new blood.
Right.
We need a new direction,
Mhm.
and it looks like you're going to take us into a different direction. I know you was talking about housing a little bit there.
Mhm.
Can you tell me more about what you would do with the housing movement?
Well, one of the things we want to do, the housing authority has failed the residents. They have not done a good job in making sure that the residents have what they need. Repairs are getting fixed on time, all of those things. So what we want to do is actually invite outside companies to come in and manage those properties,
Okay.
right? But here's the thing. See, in many cases, the city, when they're looking for people to provide a service, they just go strictly by the lowest bid, whoever submits the lowest bid.
Okay.
But I mean, if we did everything that way, you know, you'd get if you wanted a cheeseburger and Five Guys and McDonald's, yeah, they're both cheeseburgers. But if you went just by the lowest bid, you know, you'd end up with a McDonald's 99-cent cheeseburger. And I think people deserve better than that.
Right.
So instead of negotiating the price, we're going to set the price,
Mhm.
and then we're going to negotiate the services you're going to give us for that price. So some companies might say, well, you know, for that money, we're gonna build a nice community lounge for
Mhm.
people to come and interact. And another company might say, well, we're gonna build a little coffee, shop so people can have,
Right.
fresh coffee every day. Or some,
Right.
a company might say, we're gonna set aside a certain percentage of money for small business loans to help people, or job training to help people get, skills.
Mhm.
They're gonna be competing against each other to make their offers better,
Mhm.
not to make their offers lower.
Right.
And then the final piece to this, the piece we're really excited about, is once we've gotten everybody's best offer of what they're gonna give us for that money,
Mhm.
we're gonna let the residents pick who gets to manage it. Not City Hall.
Okay.
We're gonna let the residents there pick who they want to manage them. And that's why we talk about empowering people, giving them the power to make the choice that they want
Wow.
for their community.
Wow.
Instead of telling them, this is how it's gonna be. You know what I mean? That's a completely different direction, and that's,
Yeah.
and we've already been, testing this idea with people,
Mhm.
and it's been just, people have been like, wow, that's so new, that's so fresh.
Yeah.
That's something that they would love to have that opportunity to pick their own management
Right.
company. Because now you have a partnership.
Right.
You have two sides that are in it together,
Right.
and that are gonna work together to make sure that things get taken care of in a timely fashion.
Well, let me ask you a question. The incident we had, with the riot and stuff like that.
Mm.
I'd like to ask you, how would you have handled that? I know everybody's different,
Right.
but how would you have handled that? What would be your first step towards that? When it
As
happened?
it was happening? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think there was credible intelligence that something was building via social media. So once we got a hold of that intelligence, I would have kept everybody in schools,
Mhm.
okay, not released them from school. I would have kept the buses running.
Mhm.
I would have contacted all of the employers via public broadcast message
Mhm.
saying, please allow your employees with children to come home early from work and pick up their kids and get them home safely.
Right.
Because we have a situation developing here and we
Right.
need your cooperation. And that's the kind of partnerships we need to develop with our business communities, so that if a situation like that comes up,
Mhm.
they're gonna understand, okay, this is a serious situation.
Mhm.
We need to let Van go home and pick up his kids and get
Right.
them home safely. Also, I would have been in constant contact with the governor to make sure that he was being kept up to speed on what was going on. I know there were some issues there
Yeah.
about not being able to he wasn't able to reach the
Right.
mayor's office and whatnot. That constant communication, making sure that the plan that was supposed to be in place
Right.
from the federal government
Right.
to handle situations of unrest was being followed, and that everybody knew what their job responsibilities were. Because a lot of the chaos that resulted was, I think, a result of just poor planning and poor management beforehand. You know, you want to put the steps in place before things happen. I mean, when did Noah build the ark?
Right,
you know, before the flood,
Before the
right?
flood,
Yeah, so
yeah.
that's when you do the training and the prepping to make sure that if that ever comes, you're ready for it.
Right, and we're not putting down the mayor or anything
No,
like that. We just
no,
I'm
not
just
at all.
asking you a question
How I would
on
do
how
things
you would
differently.
handle
Right,
that.
right.
You know, because everybody is different. They handle stuff differently.
Right.
And I just wanted to have an answer. That was a good answer that you gave me. And I wanted to say that I know it's other candidates, and how many other candidates are there? 'Cause I haven't even
13 other candidates, just
Wow,
in the
is that many?
Democratic primary, and then there's several more in the
Oh.
Republican and Green Party. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, there's quite a large field. But what we do is when we talk to people who are just like, well, there's so many candidates, I don't know who to choose from.
Yeah.
We say, well, let's make it easy. Let's start with a simple question. You know, are you ready for a new direction?
Right.
Because if you are, then you know, recycling the same politicians is not going to get us there.
Right.
So
right.
that cuts the field considerably.
Okay.
Then of those that are remaining who want to take us in a new direction,
Mhm.
who has the tools, the training, and the experience, and the proven track record of bringing about change?
Mhm.
Well, then that narrows the field to just one candidate.
Okay.
And that's how we feel we're able to separate ourselves from the pack. Because unlike others who are bringing ideas,
Mhm.
I'm actually bringing a track record of results
Okay.
everywhere I've
Right.
been.
Yeah.
You know, because like I said, my company sent me all around the country. I was all around Southern California getting places improved. The Pacific
what you do.
Northwest. That's what I do. That's what I do. And there are certain tools that you have to bring to the table to do that. You have to know how to change workplace cultures.
Wow.
You have to know how to institute performance standards so everybody is held accountable. You have to know how to get rid of poor performers and how to keep good performers happy so that they continue working for you and not leaving to go somewhere else. You have to be able to look at a process from A to Z and identify areas that process can be improved. You know, we have a lot of processes that are still going on in City Hall like it's 1980. You know, it's 2016. We have a lot of technology now. We should be able to take advantage of that technology to make things easier for people to do business with the city and get the things that they need done. You know, and that's, like you said, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm running for mayor, because I want to do those things
Right.
down at City Hall.
Right.
And these things aren't exclusive to just businesses. I mean, they
Okay.
go on in city governments all around the country. You know,
Okay.
they just don't go on here as well as they should, and that's what I want to change. So.
I'm gonna keep it in, but leadership.
Right.
That's
Leadership and
called
day-to-day
leadership,
management.
Day-to-day management.
I don't think we have a resource problem in the city, Van. I think
Mhm.
we have a resource management problem. You know,
Okay.
we have thousands of employees, we have a $3 billion budget, and if those things were managed more effectively,
Mhm.
we could accomplish so much more. You know,
Mhm.
the days where Baltimore could just sit back and stick their hand out and say, well, give us money because we're Baltimore. I mean, we're seeing that all over now. Those days are over.
Okay.
You know, the governor and the rest of the state have made it very clear with their actions. They want Baltimore to get our act together
Mhm.
and get somebody who's going to mind the store.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
that's that. Electing me would send that message to the rest of the state that we are now going to have somebody who's going to make sure that things are run properly and that our money is spent efficiently. Like, we haven't had audits in 30 years.
Wow.
That, as somebody who worked for Bank of America for 15 years, the fact
That's
that
unheard of.
that's unheard of. That's unheard of. So, you know, we're going to have full, complete financial and performance audits within the first 18 months of every city agency, so that I and the rest of my leadership team know where we actually stand,
Mhm.
and then we can start building. But that's going to be our foundation. That's going to allow us to start moving the city forward. But without that foundation, you know, the ideas just come and go.
Right. Because without a vision, everything goes apart. You
Right.
gotta have a vision.
A vision and a roadmap for how to get there.
How to get
Right?
there, yeah.
And that's
You
what I
did
do.
a lot
So,
of us.
yep.
From what I hear you say, I like what I hear.
Mhm.
I like what I hear, Patrick. I like what I hear. And I'm looking. I think you might have my vote.
Oh, all right, I
think you might
appreciate
have
that.
my vote because I like people that are touchable.
Mhm.
I said that again. I said it before, and I say it again. I like people that are touchable because you know they're down to earth and you know they're serious about
Right.
what they're doing. And to see, and I want to see somebody in there that's like that. I didn't know it was that many candidates. Though.
Mhm.
I didn't even realize that. You know, and you think about it, and I was saying, wow, that's a lot of candidates. I thought it was only like maybe 5.
Well, the media is only focusing on 5 or 6
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
We're looking to force the issue because the response to my campaign has been so overwhelmingly positive that at some point the media is just going to have to acknowledge it.
Right.
You know, and that's what we're trying to do, is make sure that we're, you know, at the table along with the other candidates that the media are focusing on, to give people an opportunity to hear our message directly. Because we're taking the message to the streets, right to the voters, door to door. And everywhere we go, it doesn't matter if it's black, white, Latino, rich, poor, people are really responding to the fact that better leadership and better day-to-day management is really the key.
That's the key.
And if that's the key, and we all agree on that, then who better to hire to manage your operation than an operations manager? You know, if your car's broke, you hire a mechanic.
Yeah, you take a mechanic.
Right?
You take a mechanic.
You know, if you have problems with your plumbing, you hire a plumber. You know, if your operation's not being managed properly, you hire an operations manager. And that's the message that we're putting out there. You know, with that leadership and that day-to-day management, I think we can accomplish a lot here in the city.
Well, Patrick, I love having you on my show here.
Right on.
And I can't wait till you're mayor.
Oh, well, I appreciate the vote of confidence,
I
man,
can't
and the
wait till
support.
you're mayor, 'cause
And I
when
hope
I
all your
hear-
viewers.
And you tell
you
the
know.
viewers
Right.
what you know.
I just want the viewers to know, thank you for the opportunity to come on Van's show and talk a little bit about my vision for a better Baltimore. As I've said repeatedly, it starts with better leadership and better day-to-day management of our people and our resources. I know what I'm asking for is critical. Your vote is not something to be trifled with. It's something that is very important, and I wouldn't be here asking you for it today if I didn't believe in all my heart that I had some tools that can really make a difference in our city and take us in the direction we all want to go in. So please, vote for me, Patrick Gutierrez, for mayor on April 26th. Thank you.
And this is In the Spotlight with God, and I am Elston Van Murchison, and we will see you next time. God bless.